Hi, my name is Kendall Davis. I am the Assistant Leader of Creative Solutions for Syria, and today I will be discussing social problems that have resulted from life in camps for Syria's internally displaced people. A report by the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women points out that close living quarters can place additional stress on family members who are already experiencing significant disruptions to their lives. UN Women reported that IDPs have complained that crowded living situations deprive them of privacy and personal space. They noticed that families find themselves arguing more since living in such crowded spaces. 800,000 Syrian children under the age of 14 have been displaced, now live in camps for displaced people, and for many of them, their education has been completely put on hold. Through efforts made in order to keep IDPs' lives moving forward, social issues have been noted. IGOs such as UNICEF and NGOs like the International Rescue Committee work to provide schooling, psychological counseling, and other social services to displaced children who have been traumatized by what they have experienced. Children are encouraged to create visual arts, like drawing. Dominique Hyde from UNICEF has noticed the effects these traumatic experiences has had on some of the displaced children through the artwork they have created in the camps. She said, quote, "With the conflict in Syria now in its third year, children have been exposed to horrible atrocities. Art is an important form of self-expression, and for many children, an outlet to express the horrors they have witnessed," end quote. She says that children are expressing these horrors in their drawings, depicting things of blood, weapons, and corpses, for example. She also said, quote, "We see artwork by children that is highly politicized and depict awful scenes of conflict and death, things no children should have to witness. We also see artwork from children who have gone through UNICEF's psychosocial support programs that depict scenes of peace and hopefulness," end quote.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I am a researcher for this group. I will be discussing what is being used to assist the internally displaced children to prevent them from becoming a lost generation. The UK asks that international organizations join in on providing financial assistance to the Syrian children, just as the UK did with a contribution of 31 million British pounds. The new program will provide psychological and emotional counseling for the children who have faced many traumas such as violence, death, loss of loved ones, loss of limbs, and even sexual assault. This program will in addition alert and inform and give protection to those who face the process of early marriage. This program will also allow for the training of teachers, the development of equipped classes with books and materials needed for students to succeed and catch up academically in order to fall into place with the curriculum for those who will be admitted into Jordanian and Lebanese schools if they seek refuge in those countries. This program aims to provide common toys and crayons to help ensure a sense of hope and normalcy amidst the chaos that the children are engulfed in. These children are a hope for a future. It is a generation that will become strong and resilient due to the troubles that they have gone through for the last 3 years. Needless to say, these children should not become a lost cause.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I am a researcher for Creative Solutions for Syria. Today I will be looking at international aid in the camps or lack thereof. In Damascus, the UNHCR is providing aid to about 3 million people. They have been delivering relief items such as mattresses, cooking utensils, sanitary or hygiene supplies, and blankets, among many other things. They have maintained a substantial presence in Damascus as they monitor the general conditions of the people and protection concerns. However, with about 4.25 million internally displaced people in Syria, international aid cannot reach everywhere. For example, along the northern Syria border, about 100 meters from Turkey, there is a camp that has been set up where a month ago there were no people. Now about 6,000 Syrians are taking refuge under olive trees. However, without an organization to look after them like the UNHCR in Damascus, the people have now looked to their own people to form a police force. So they have some people from the Free Syrian Army, the rebels from there, have created a police force to monitor the people in this camp. However, many of the camp feel that they have been abandoned by the international community and are very disappointed in the U.S. and Obama for their lack of help to these people. Many children are suffering from bug bites, disease, and infection due to the dirty and unsanitary conditions of the camp, and as a result, tempers occasionally flare. Turkey has been providing some supplies like medicine and humanitarian aid. This has just started because they are feeling that they need to provide humanitarian aid to these people. However, that's about the extent of what they can do. And this is because Turkey is now at its limit for providing resources and allowing Syrians to come in. They've put a hold on the number of Syrians allowed in. Also because the creation of the camps is not being able to keep up with the number of Syrians who want to enter. As a result, some Syrians have put aside their pride and begged on their knees to be let in, although this doesn't always work out and many are turned down. And those who are desperate enough even try to sneak under barbed wire border fences at night.
Well, I am Brandon Lasco, a researcher for this group, and I will be responding to a question about the camps and who is in charge. Currently, a lot of the camps seem to be very naturally led by natural order. However, there are some camps in the northern area of Syria that are run by rebel groups. These include the Free Syrian Army or the North Storm Rebel Militia. These help the camps and the people because they maintain order, but at the same time, since they are rebel groups, the government has a military. They attract military attention by the government. Furthermore, the Syrian government has decided that all the humanitarian aid that does go to Syria does not go to that only goes to government-held territory, which puts these northern groups run by rebels in a very bad position. Furthermore, gas prices have gone up like 4 times, which makes it even harder for them to get supplies on their own without government aid as well. Tarek Kurdi, the representative of the UN Refugee Agency in Syria, has said that they have received less than 1/3 of the aid that they need, and a great way to help the community as well as all the people would be to increase the aid and actually appeal to the international view for help Syrians.
Hi, my name is Brianna McTiernan, and I am the team leader of Creative Solutions for Syria. I'll be talking about the rebel groups and their relations to the internally displaced. There are many rebel groups, also known as opposition groups, coming from the Syrian National Council, as well as the National Coalition for Syrian Revolutionary and Opposition Forces, which is recognized as a legitimate representation of the Syrian people, and their main goal is regime change in Syria. Some of the well-known opposition groups are Coalition of Secular and Democratic Syrians, Supreme Council of the Syrian Revolution, and the Syrian Martyrs Brigade. Some groups are recognized and even supported by many countries, including 17 member states of the United Nations, like the United States and France. Although these armed rebel groups are trying to put an end to the Assad regime, which would help the internally displaced, they are dangerous and feared not only by the internally displaced, but by humanitarian groups as well. United Nations workers have received threats from groups, volunteers and United Nations staff have been killed, and there have been abductions. The protection of civilians is priority for majority of the international parties in Syria, and there is much debate and controversy over what would be the best way to do that, such as supplying the rebel groups with weapons to protect the civilians. And the controversy arises from the fact that the rebel groups are not protecting the internally displaced, and supplying them with weapons could result in even more disruptions and violence, especially since many groups are now fighting amongst each other and many have ties with Al-Qaeda. According to Al Jazeera, Human Rights Watch says that in one attack by opposition groups in a pro-government area, nearly 200 citizens were killed, more than 200 citizens were taken hostage, and, quote, "These abuses were not the actions of rogue fighters. This operation was a coordinated, planned attack on the civilian population," unquote. There are not many options when it comes to protecting the internally displaced. Sending rebel groups weapons could make things worse, as there's no telling what they will do. Humanitarian groups are not fully safe, so how can they protect others when they do not have the resources to protect themselves? And sending in troops to protect them could result in another Middle Eastern war. Creative Solutions for Syria believes that the best feasible solution at this time is to raise international awareness in order to increase the aid that is going to help the internally displaced in Syria.